Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome for the first time. Today, we are talking about the Last Chance Qualifier. So this is a little bit late because the Last Chance Qualifier is actually underway right now. It started about 2.5 hours ago. That's when the window opened to submit scores and to do the workouts. If you're not familiar with the Last Chance Qualifier, it is the athletes that did well in semifinals, finished in those positions right out of qualifying. So the top five in most semifinals qualified. It was the sixth, seventh, and eighth people in most semifinals. A little bit different if they were in a semifinal with less qualifying positions, but that is about the number of athletes that each semifinal were sending and where they placed in those semifinals. So these are very, very good athletes. And the Last Chance Qualifier is their last chance to qualify for the CrossFit Games, which will be happening in August 3rd through 7th, I believe, in Madison, Wisconsin. So this is their last chance to try and punch their ticket. Only 2 athletes out of these fields, which I believe can be up to 32 athletes. It depends on how many actually finish and register. Some athletes are not doing the Last Chance Qualifier. They've already announced that they're not going to be doing it. Others we just don't know and they haven't registered just yet. People sometimes forget. So the field can be anywhere from 0 to 32. Of course, we have athletes registered, so we know 0 will not be the number, but it's going to vary on the women's and men's side. It's only women's and men's. No teams are doing the Last Chance Qualifier. So 2 women and 2 men will qualify through the Last Chance Qualifier for the CrossFit Games. And I kind of love this, that we do this now. This is only the second year, I believe, of the Last Chance Qualifier. I think it gives people to be excited, something to be excited about, and something to watch after semifinals. Semifinals and regionals in the past were really exciting. Couple weeks of very exciting events, and then you kind of had this lull before the games. Now we have this Last Chance Qualifier, which gives us something to watch after all of that madness is over. So I'm pretty excited about it. And the field in these things is insanely good. The field is just the people that were almost games level. A lot of these athletes do have games experience. So it's very competitive and probably the hardest way to punch your ticket to the CrossFit Games. One, you're so close to the games, you don't really have much time to deload and you just competed at the semifinals. So your body's a little bit tired. And like I said, the field is all very good athletes. At the semifinals, you kind of have that lower heat where these athletes could have like a home run event, but generally just aren't as good as the top level athletes. These are all athletes that were in that final heat. They were all some of the best athletes competing. They just came up a little bit short. So I think it'll be really exciting to watch. I hope CrossFit, if CrossFit is listening, I hope CrossFit decides to put out during the next 2 days some of the workouts, maybe tomorrow after the submission window is over, put out some of the best workouts, the top times, because I would love to see it. And there's just really not a lot for all of us to see right now because they're not televised and most people aren't going to be broadcasting it because you don't want other people to see your score during that submission window because you don't want people to redo the workout and beat you. So there's just not a lot to view while this is actually happening. So the first submission window ends tomorrow. That is Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. And the second submission window ends on Friday, noon and 3 p.m. time zones. So we should know everything by the end of the day Friday, depending on how things are verified and how long things take to get there and get done. It might, watching videos back might take some time, but we only have 30 athletes or 32 athletes maximum in each field. So it's not like there's a lot of videos to sift through. So hopefully they'll be able to get these results out sooner so the athletes know and so that all of us know. And hopefully CrossFit will be putting out some content so we can actually see what's happening more than just looking at the leaderboard, which we won't have any information on the leaderboard until after the submission window closes. So we just have 4 workouts. I'm going to share my screen with all of you so you can see what things look like, what these 4 workouts are. It's different because in the past, there's been multiple workouts. Well, in Last Chance Qualifier, we've only ever had 4. But when you talk about the online semifinals that happened, we had 6 events. So this is a much smaller number of events than we usually see. But I actually like how they did these because none of these events are single modality. And last year, we actually had 2 that were. We had the 3-rep max, I believe, deadlift, and it was 100 burpees to a target, I believe, for time. Single modality workouts give people that are really good at one movement the opportunity for a home run, but somebody who's more well-rounded and maybe can't hit a home run on a single modality workout, they're kind of left not doing as well. And this is CrossFit, right? So it's about being able to do multiple things well, not just one thing. So being able to do the cardiovascular machines well, being able to do weightlifting well, being able to do gymnastics well. And I think this year's workouts are a much better blend of all of those things as opposed to just being really good at one thing. So I do like these workouts. The first workout is fast. I mean, there's only 4 minutes of working time, 6 minutes total. From 0 to 2 minutes, the athletes will complete 20 thrusters. The barbell is 125 for women, 185 for men. And then the remaining time, they're going to do max rep bar muscle ups. So their score is going to be those bar muscle ups because everyone's going to get those 20 thrusters. It is heavy, but these are athletes that almost qualified for the CrossFit Games this year. And many of the athletes have been at the CrossFit Games prior to this. So they're going to get to those bar muscle ups and they're going to do big sets. I mean, I would not be as good at this workout, so I don't have the best experience from my perspective, but I imagine some of them will start out with a big set. I mean, these athletes can do 15, 20, 25 bar muscle ups unbroken. I don't know if that's going to be a smart bet to go unbroken. It's probably going to be smarter to break them up a little bit earlier, especially with the bar muscle ups, because I think it's easier to jump back on the bar, where when you drop a barbell, it's easier to stand there and look at it for a little bit of time. So I think it's a little bit smarter to break up those bar muscle ups and then try to do the thrusters as close to unbroken as you can. So then from minutes 2 to 4, you're going to rest. And then 4 to 6, you're going to reverse it, 20 bar muscle ups, and then max thrusters in the remaining time. I think we're going to definitely see athletes get more bar muscle ups in the first window than thrusters in the second. The bar is heavy. You're going to be more fatigued by the time you get to those thrusters. And again, like I said, I think it's going to be easier to jump back on the bar and do those bar muscle ups than it is going to be to pick up that barbell and do the thrusters. Some of these athletes at the end of this max rep thrusters may be doing singles, 125, 185. Those are heavy weights for a thruster. So I definitely think we're going to see more bar muscle ups in the first window than thrusters in the second window. Moving on to the second workout, we have a 2,000 meter row for time and then a max distance handstand walk in the remaining time. So there's a 9-minute time cap for the women and an 8-minute time cap for the men. And I think that we're seeing that different time cap. Well, I know we're seeing that different time cap because women just don't row as fast. Generally, that's just not the case. You might have a couple outliers. The slowest man and the fastest woman might be similar, but overall, the men are all going to row much faster than the women. So I think the time caps being different makes sense here. And I think it doesn't make sense to max out your row. And I'm sure none of the athletes will. You're not really trying to hit a PR row time. You're trying to row fast, but only as fast as you can quickly get off and still do well on the handstand walk in the remaining time. So I'm thinking that we're going to see maybe for the winning distance, 150 to 200 feet, probably closer to that 150, I believe. This is going to be a hard workout for some of these smaller women and smaller men. That row just takes up so much time. And if you can't row quickly because mass moves mass and you just can't move that rower as quickly as the taller athletes. But then again, if the taller athletes just aren't as good on their hands, maybe it'll even out. But I think these bigger athletes are going to have better times on this. That being said, I think Katrin Davidsdottir could do really well on this event. She's one of the best overhead, one of the best on her hands. She's not ridiculously small or anything, so she's not going to be hurt too much by that row. So I'll be interested to see how she does on this workout. This is a second workout, so it's one of the workouts that's being done today. So we'll show some results for this tomorrow, but I think she'll do well on this workout. We'll look at the athletes and talk about who I think is going to qualify, but first we're just going through some of these some of these workouts. Now we have the third workout, and this one is interesting because I think this is definitely a sneaky workout. Whenever you see those reps go up, it's a trap. The thing is, when those reps start getting higher, all of a sudden it starts to hurt. Like you're not halfway through the workout, I believe, until you start the eights. So you're those first couple of sets, the ones, the twos, the threes, you're going to be feeling great. And then it's going to start to hit you. So it's 1 to 10, clean and jerk, and shuttle run. The women's weight is 155. The shuttle run is 50 feet for both women and men. And the men's weight is 225. I have heard some people say they want to see the women's weight just a touch heavier because women have gotten stronger and they tend to cycle a little bit heavier than the men at this point. But I think it changes a little bit when you add that jerk in. I think that starts to get fatigued on women a little bit faster than if it was just a clean workout. I think if it was just a clean, you could bump it up to maybe 160, 165. But because it's a clean and jerk, I think this kind of makes sense. So, and these are more traditional weights, the 155 and 225. That's usually what we see for women. When men are doing 225, women do 155. I know it's games level athletes, but I do think this is good for this workout. And again, they're only competing against their gender anyway. So it's not like we're comparing the men's times to women's times regardless. But I think that this is going to get sneaky hard, but the time cap is 20 minutes. And I think it should be pretty easily finishable within that 20 minutes for everyone. So I imagine that when this workout was programmed, it was programmed and designed for everyone to finish. That time cap is not aggressive for these athletes, and they should all finish this workout easily within that time cap. Moving on to our last workouts, and this one looks grueling. You got 50 burpee box jump overs already. That's rough. 75 double unders and 100 wall ball shots. 2 rounds for time. Everyone's doing it to a 10-foot target, which this is the first year we've really seen that. So all the women start practicing your wall balls to a 10-foot target because that looks to be the new norm. But this is interesting because I think I haven't done this workout. 75 double unders, a total of 150 double unders throughout the entire workout seems very, very low for athletes of this caliber. So it's kind of surprising to see that number be so small. But I imagine this workout was tested by very high level athletes. And maybe it's just because that's just going to keep your heart rate up in between those movements. It's not going to be a recovery. 75, the number is too small to really give athletes the time for the heart rate to get lower and really recover. So it's just another way to tax your shoulders maybe a little bit before you go into those wall ball shots. And your shoulders are going to be using them on the burpee box jump and that push up. So maybe it's just a way to like keep them tired and keep your heart rate up before you head up to that wall ball shot. But this is going to be a workout that's just going to be a matter of how much do you want to suffer? Because all these athletes can easily do this. It's all within their wheelhouse. It's all within their capabilities. So it's going to be a matter of knowing where you are on that leaderboard after day one and wanting to sell it. So 20-minute time cap again. I think everyone should finish this again. I think everything is designed to finish. That way, all the athletes are fatigued the same amount. So I think that's a good idea. I think that was a cool idea going into this. We see weightlifting tested. We see, without it being a 1 rep max, I think a 1 rep max just be an outlier with, we have so many athletes that the weightlifting event was an outlier at semifinals. There were 6 events. This event only has 4 workouts. So I think it would be detrimental to put a 1 rep max in there, but we still test weightlifting. So we have 2 heavy barbells. We have 2 cardiovascular things in the rowing and the running, and we have gymnastics when it comes to the bar muscle up. So I think we are seeing a lot of things tested here, and it's a pretty good looking test for a lot of these athletes. Moving over, we're going to take a look now at the leaderboard so we could take a look at who is actually signed up for this and who we should be looking at to possibly qualify for the CrossFit Games. So I'm going to pull up the leaderboard here so we can all take a look at the names on here. And we've got some big names this year. So first, we have the men's here. And I think the biggest name of all the names, And the man that we should most likely expect to make it is Yonakoski. He's signed up right here. So I wanted to make sure he was signed up. I couldn't find his name real quick. But Yonakoski, I've heard a rumor that he was a little bit ill going into his semifinal, which I believe was strength and depth. And I had expected him to qualify, and I expected him to qualify fairly easily. So it was surprising to see him not qualify. And I think if he's healthy and feeling good, that he should be able to do it. I feel most confident in Yonakoski punching his ticket here and also doing very well in the games. We did see some athletes do very well in the CrossFit Games coming out of the Last Chance Qualifier last year. Christy O'Connell would be the biggest name that came out and the biggest performance. She finished 8th overall, I believe, in last year's CrossFit Games. So a top 10 finish after having to qualify out of the Last Chance Qualifier. So you could have some really great athletes qualify out of this. I also think we'll see Tyler Christoffel possibly qualify. He's out of CrossFit Mayhem. He's come close to qualifying twice, very, very close the last 2 years. And I think maybe this year he'll be able to do it out of the Last Chance Qualifier. There's definitely some other interesting names on here. Royce Dunn, especially now seeing the programming and how it benefits, I think it could benefit a bigger human. I think Royce Dunn could do really well with some of these workouts, with that row, with the heavy barbell, with the wall ball. I think that he could do really well in this, and he could also be an athlete to keep your eye on. Not to say there aren't other ones. Matt DeLugas came very close to qualifying. I believe he was at the Granite Games. So there are a couple other athletes that I believe can do well here. So there definitely are some other athletes to keep your eye on. Luka Ducic might do well too. James Sprague, he's a big name. He's become a story that people have liked to follow. So it would be cool to see him qualify. I'm just not sure with a field as stacked as this is, if he'll be able to do it. Jake Berman, maybe. But my top three are probably Yonakoski, Tyler Christoffel, and Royce Dunn. If I had to pick, I mean, only two go. If you're giving me three, Timothy Paulson's also a name that could do well, but those three that I mentioned first, those are probably the ones that I think are most likely to punch their ticket. Now, moving over to the women's, I don't think it's just a really, really stacked field here. Someone you won't notice on the list, that is going to be Sam Briggs. She said, I don't see her name good. She did say that she wasn't going to do this, and she said it multiple times. So I'm believing her. Her name's not on here. I'm not sure if they can technically still sign up until the end of this first window, but I don't think she's doing it. I think she's going to be helping Emma McQuaid and just focusing on being a firefighter and being retired from this level of competition. But Sarah Sigmund's daughter, if she's healthy, might be able to do really well. She's always been very good at online competition. She's won the Open. So this could be a place that she excels. And I'm interested to see how she does. She's getting farther and farther out from having had that major surgery. So I think she's more recovered. The only thing that I question is that I've watched a lot of Training Think Tank's videos that they put out. And while she's doing very, very well, she doesn't usually beat Alexis Raptis. And Alexis Raptis is very strong of an athlete and did very well in her semifinal, was always in the top 5, is going to the CrossFit Games this year. This is her first year as a games athlete. So you would think that someone who's a name like Sarah Sigmund's daughter would be more regularly beating her or just, going back and forth with her. But it feels like most of the time, and now Training Think Tank isn't posting everything they do, but most of the time it feels like Alexis is beating her. So it makes me wonder if Sarah is fully healthy and all the way back. But I do think that if she is, then she could definitely do well here. Madeline Sturt, I think she surprised a lot of us down in Oceania, Australia region. That is a really difficult region. And with Tia Claire Toomey qualifying out of there and Cara Saunders, they pretty much came first and second in almost every event there. And there's only 3 spots open in the Australian regional or Oceania regional. So it doesn't really leave a lot of wiggle room. It basically comes down to one spot because these two spots are just, there's a stronghold on them from those two athletes. And Madeline Sturt almost made it and qualified. So I think she looks really good. She's a smaller athlete. I do think she'll struggle a little bit on that row. But overall, I think that she could do well here. And out of the same region, New Zealander Jamie Simmons, I would also look at her to do very, very well in this last chance qualifier. She's done really well in the Open. She may have won the Open one year as well. So, again, another person who excels in the online format, and that might make a big difference. So, it's definitely some people to keep an eye on. Of course, Katrin Davidsdottir is someone to keep an eye on. She's won the games twice. But she's had a lot of change in her life this last year. She moved back to Iceland. She's with new coaching. So I don't know if that's having any sort of impact on her, but she could very well qualify too out of this. Kelly Clark could do very well as well. And she almost qualified. I think she was 1 point out from qualifying in her semifinal. So she could do very well in this online format. Those are probably the biggest name. Fee Sagafi may do well too, but she, again, is a small athlete. I think that row workout is going to really hurt her. Chloe Wilson also came very close at Granite Games. So she could do well here as well. So another person to keep your eye on. But if I have to pick two, or if I maybe get three again, I'll probably go with Sarah Sigmundsdottir, Maddie Sturt, and Katrin Davidsdottir. I think those are my top three, and two of those people will qualify. Jamie Simmons, I wonder about, but she might still be a little bit injured. I know she's coming off an injury. But I think those three, Sarah, Maddie, and Katrin, would be my top three coming out of this. Ariel Lowen also could do well, but this field is just so stacked. I think that those three are really our best three. That's really all I have for all of you today. Thanks for hanging out with me and talking a little bit about what we're going to see here and what we're going to see in Last Chance Qualifier. Oh, Andrew Hiller left a comment. That's pretty cool. Hi, Andrew, if he's still watching. I appreciate all you guys hanging out, and make sure you subscribe. I'm going to the CrossFit Games. Hope to have some content out of there, so subscribe for that. And also subscribe for more Last Chance Qualifier content. I'll be doing that and more vlogs. So look out for that. I was just in Hawaii also, and I have a vlog coming from that. So some cool stuff to watch. Thanks for watching.